Hey everybody, it is Mike with aPlantBasedDiet.org. I'm a lifestyle nutritionist. Welcome to chapter 16 of the book, where we're finally going to start getting into some details. So if you've been watching this V-book and listening to it or whatever format you are on YouTube, and of course the link is below. If you just kind of randomly stumbled upon this thing on the internet, it's liveto150.org. Takes you straight to the playlist. So this chapter, we're finally getting into some details of the lifestyle. Because up till now, if you've read all of them, and if you haven't read or listened or watched, I encourage you to do so. It's really about the mindset. And we will be diving into the mindset more as time goes on, because we have to, because it's critical. Nobody can do this alone in a vacuum. And or maybe that's the alternative, is to live completely on your own by yourself without any influences. But nobody wants to do that. And actually that is not conducive to a long and happy life either. That's actually very detrimental. So don't do that. I don't recommend that. But let's talk about oil. Okay, this is such a big one. This is such a problem. The number one thing you need to remember about oil is that you should never eat any oil. It's not a food. It's a food-like product. You should never eat any foods or food-like products. They are food-like products if they have oil in them, that have oil as an added ingredient. And I'm talking about like the plant-based and vegan cheeses, ice creams, milks. Actually, oat milk is a killer for oil. That's why everyone loves it. It's so good. Oh, the oat milk, you know. The problem is it's got oil in it, okay? Yes, it mimics the taste of animal products, which, as we know, are very detrimental to your health and longevity. So you don't want to be eating stuff that's mimicking the animal products, not only because it's gross and disgusting to be eating like a dairy product from the mammary gland of another species, or the meat, the veins, the muscle, the blood. You don't want to be, I mean, I know it's a transition. That's all it is. You got to view it as a transition product. It's nothing more than that, because oil, I'd say, is basically the perfect junk food, if you think about it. I've had some conversations with people recently, and I've asked them the question. I said, have you ever made oil on your own? And nobody has answered me yes, that they have. And it's probably because, and I don't even know, you probably need some giant press of a machine to squeeze everything out, because the reality is all plants have some fat in them, which is oil. But it's in the right amount. It's mixed in with the water, it's mixed in with the fibers, mixed in with the nutrients. But when you get oil out of a plant, and, you know, it's part of the whole idea of, well, using everything, because not everybody's into eating whole plants, right? So if you're going to use everything, what are you going to do with some really rotted plants? I mean, you should, if you think about it, go ahead and compost them, turn them into soil for your organic farm without the use of chemicals, chemical fertilizers. But people don't do that, and people aren't set up for that right now. The world doesn't work like that. So the way it is now, just like the animal product industry says, well, we use all the parts of the animal. We use everything, which they do. It's gross. You're eating like ears and noses when you eat hot dogs and sausages. But with the plants, you've got rotten plants that you don't know what to do with. You have to ship them or move them to somewhere else to compost them. It's kind of expensive. But if you have a plant here and you're just taking in all the crap, the waste plants that nobody wants, that are not going to be composted, you can easily turn them into oil. You have no idea. I mean, the reality is the plants that are used for oil are not going to be in perfect shape. They'd rather sell them at, you know, on the produce counter. They'd show them off to people that'd be so great looking. But if they're not so great looking, they're probably going to turn them into oil. And oil is the fat of the plant, concentrated. So instead of having, you know, there's some plants that are high in fat, as we have talked about, and we will talk about in this video. Some plants that you need to kind of moderate on, right? You need to kind of use your self-control, which is another topic we've talked about here. The nuts, the seeds, the avocados, in a natural form, and there are some fruits like was it not durian? Oh, yeah, actually it is durian. I'm sorry. Durian is a very high fat fruit. There's some other exotic fruits that are like that. Those also fall into that category, very high in fat. Actually, they'd be very good to make oil out of. I'm sure you've heard of avocado oil. They make avocado oil products because it's so high in fat to begin with. So putting those examples aside, nuts, seeds, avocado, durian, other specialty fruits, almost all other plants have a great mix of everything in them. And you don't need to moderate as long as you're eating mostly whole plants. But the oil form is a concentrated all fat form. You remove all of the nutrients, you remove all of the water, you remove all of the fiber. So all the things that are good, that are really highly beneficial, because I heard some people say, well, you got to have some fat to digest. Okay, yeah, you're going to get the fat. You're just not going to get a massive like shot of fat. Like you're not going to get like a fat bomb, basically, which is what oil is. Oil is truly like the most perfect junk food you could ever think of, because all the good parts have been removed. And yeah, like say you get olive oil. There's some microscopic cellular makeup of an olive left in there because you can't pull everything out, but it's almost all the fat from the olive. And your body treats pure isolated fat in a similar way. It doesn't really like it. That's not a food to your body. Even the high fat plants that we talked about are not like 90% fat, okay? You got to realize that they're not even that high. Oil is 100% fat. And that is what your body doesn't recognize as food. It kind of freaks it out a little bit. It kind of goes into shock, and it will start to react negatively on so many different levels. I hear some people say, well, you know, I've talked to this person, that person in the holistic health industry, and they say vegans have the worst blood work of anybody that comes in that wants to go under a certain dietary or lifestyle name. Vegans have the worst blood work of everybody. And you know what? If you're not following this thing here about avoiding oil, not even one single drop of oil, then you're probably going to totally screw up your blood work. And I believe this statement that the average vegan probably has worse blood work than somebody else. Now, don't take this as a say, oh, okay, well, these are the filling, you know, like full-bodied plant products that I'm used to, you know, standard American diet people. So I guess if I'm not going to eat oil, I'm going to go ahead and just have some farm-raised beef, free-range chickens or something like that. No. I'm trying to tell you that oil is much more closely aligned with an animal product than it is with a plant product. It is not natural, and it is a perverted version of the plant, about as screwed up version of the plant as you can possibly get, and still name it a plant. I don't know how somebody can name olive oil from an olive, because there's no way I'd be able to tell what plant that is from unless somebody told me. And of course, that breeds another problem in the oil industry, which is that there's fraud, apparently. Like, you think you're buying olive oil when you're really getting corn oil or something like that. Like, how are you going to know, really? I mean, I know you say, well, the corn oil, maybe it smells a little different, but if someone blends it together and they add a little of this and a little of that, and it's kind of like a hybrid mixture, you're not going to know. They can do it. They can water it down, basically, right? You're not going to know. The other thing about oil is you got to think about oil as you would, what are the practical uses? First of all, you can't make it, right? We agree on this. You cannot make oil. And if you can, please say something down below in the comments. I would like to hear how you can make oil. I'd like to try it myself. I'd like to just see what the process is. Not to say that I'm going to start eating oil, because I'm not. I'm telling you specifically, don't have oil, not even one single drop of oil. Oh, and before I go any further, if you don't believe me, please go to one of our links. I think it's below, healthyveganfood.info, healthyveganfood.info. You'll see 2 videos there from Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who is a cardiologist in the Cleveland Clinic, and he will explain why you should not have one single drop of oil, ever. And you should tell all the restaurants when you go out that you're allergic to oil, and it's going to kill you. And also, he talks about how you can make yourself heart attack and stroke proof in those videos. They're several hours long each. So I'm giving you the kind of the cliff notes here. But the bottom line is, stay away. It's bad. It's bad. It's not like you're not going to get it, because you are. If you're eating plants, you're going to get the oil just in the way Mother Nature intended it to be used by your body, which was designed to eat plants. Okay. Oil is a fraud, basically. It's a junk food. Like I said, it is like the most junky of foods. It's like the model for all of the junk foods. And in fact, most of the junk foods that are out there, if you look at prepackaged things with multiple ingredients, they all have oil in them as an added ingredient, because it's the oil that I guess people crave. I guess it's the standard American diet. It's the mouthfeel the food chemists have all made us addicted to, things like that. And all oils are bad. Okay, first of all, let me say, there is no oil that's better to consume than any other oil, because they're all gathered and produced and processed in the same way as I've just described. But there are some that are worse. And let me tell you right now, coconut oil is the absolute worst. Now, why? Well, you're welcome to do your own research, and I encourage you to. But coconut oil has an incredible amount of saturated fat, not just regular fat, but saturated. And saturated fat in naturally occurring dairy products and meat, animal products is one of the things that makes these things so bad for the human body. So when you produce coconut oil, and almost everything else about the coconut is awesome, okay? But the oil is not natural. You'll never find coconut oil as a isolated form in nature, okay? You will never find that. So you've got to make sure that you don't consume it. It is just as bad or worse than the animal products because of the saturated fat levels. Consider that, all right? That is not something you want to ever put into your body. It's going to be even worse than the average oils. And if you look at some of the vegan products that are out there on the market today, this is 2022, I'm recording this. I'm 52 as I'm recording this. There's all kinds of cheeses and things, and like Violife. Sorry to throw them under the bus, but all their stuff is pretty much coconut oil. And yeah, it's great, okay? Like lots of baked goods with the coconut oil and frostings and stuff, but it's a killer to humans, okay? It's just, it's like I said, I mentioned food chemists earlier. They go on, all these processed products are designed for the mouth feel, right? It's been this way in the animal product industry forever. And we thought, well, okay, now that we're getting plant products, this is awesome, right? We're not going to worry about these things anymore. But no, they're back again. They're just doing it with the plant-based products. A lot of people are thinking that plant-based now means it's made in a plant, because that's what you see most of the time. It's not like the produce section, the organic produce section is expanding in your supermarket, right? No, what's happening is the animal product section is going smaller. And then in its place are plant-based products that resemble the animal products. So the stuff that's getting on there is not really helping your health, unfortunately. It is in some ways because it's not going to have cholesterol in it, obviously. It's not going to have the proteins that cause cancer and other things. But it's probably also high in salt. That's another chapter we have here. Any of these things. But the oil form, remember, it's the ultimate junk food. You want to stay away from it. You do not want to substitute any kind of free-range animal products for the oil, thinking you're doing your body something good. You're not. Okay, if you want to do right for your body, if you want to have a fulfilling life, you want to be full of energy, you want to have the ability to do whatever it is in life you want to do, you got to stay away from the oil. Again, go to healthyveganfood.info and watch these many hours long videos from Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, where he will set the record straight. I don't claim to be a physician. I'm a lifestyle nutritionist. I will tell you what to eat, and he tells you about all the science behind it. I wish it was required watching for all cardiologists or all folks in the medical industry. I mean, and as I said in many videos I've made, and even this one, I'll say it, unfortunately, people in the healthcare, or I call sick care system, are not really trained in nutrition, not really, hardly at all. They're awesome at emergency medicine and traumatic situations and needed, okay? But outside of that, for daily things, most of these diseases are diseases of affluence, right? You can control them. You can stop them. You can reverse them. You can prevent them from ever happening at all. And this is what they don't know. There's no money in that. But that's why we have the book here, okay? So please share this with other people. But oil, I want to keep beating this drum here. Oil is so bad. Like whenever I go out to the restaurants, it's all oil and salt, oil and salt. At every single restaurant, I cannot find anything decent except for Green Fair Organic Cafe. If you're watching this and you're in the DC area, go there. They're the only people that have every single item without any added oil. They even make their own cheese for their pizzas and Italian dishes because they want to keep the fat, percentage of calories from fat low. That's a whole other chapter. But oil, okay, this is it. There's nothing good about it. If you have any questions about this, please write down below. If you are out there watching and you believe this, say no oil in there, no oil. Now, here's another example for you. What's another example for what's a real use of oil? Because if oil is not designed for the human body, what is it used for? Well, I think we also know that oil and grease are not designed to go down the pipes in your house, right? The plumbing. If anybody's ever given you good lessons about how to cook something in the kitchen. I'm not saying that they told you the right foods to make, but how to make them. They tell you never put any grease or oil down the drains. You know why? Because it doesn't go anywhere. It sticks to the insides of those drains, and it just builds up and it creates a clog. Okay, it does the same thing in your body. It is such a powerful substance. It doesn't go anywhere. It's refined down to the basic, whatever's left that will not go anywhere, oil, right? And like I said, we as Americans or anywhere in the world, the standard American diet is just an example of how bad, how the diseases of influence, the diseases of affluence develop because of this desire to eat this type of food. We're all trained wrong. And of course, all the previous chapters are about this. We'll have other future chapters about this. But look, it doesn't work in the pipes of your house. Why is it going to be good to work in your body? Now, what's a good use for it, though? How about the internal combustion engine, which is probably on the way out here in 2022? Because I drive an electric car, and I don't really want to buy any more internal combustion engines ever again if I can avoid it. Most of the auto manufacturers, believe it or not, are phasing out the development of internal combustion engines. They have stopped engineering on them, which is awesome. But what do they need? If you ever, how an internal combustion engine works, it is a piston that goes up and down, and it's inside of a metal cylinder, really tight fit. Has to be lubricated all the time, including all the bearings that spin around. So what do you use? Use oil, because oil is a great lubricant, and it doesn't go anywhere unless you've got like piston rings that are worn down or something else where you're burning oil. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about a regular engine. Why do they use oil? Because it doesn't go anywhere, and it lubricates. It sticks to the engine parts. It doesn't stop, okay? It's tenacious. Why would you want to put that in your body? I know maybe no one's ever explained it to you in this way before, but it's important that we do, and I can't even understand why we don't. I mean, just like if you think about it's something you put in your engine to lubricate it under high speeds, incredibly high temperatures. It's still there, it doesn't go anywhere. And you don't put it on the pipes of your house. Why would you ever want to stick that inside of your body? It's the ultimate junk food, like I said. It's a food-like product. It is not food, even though it's sourced from the plant. All the good parts are gone. The fiber's gone. The water's gone. All the nutrients are gone. It's one of the most it is the highest caloric density food or food-like product that you can consume. I think it's like 9 calories per gram, something like that. That's why people have a weight problem. You're eating too high of a caloric density of foods. But if you don't ever eat any foods that have any oil in them at all, you can eat as much as you want. So that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you permission, as long as you're willing to eat whole, organic, not grown with chemicals types plants, eat all you want, as long as none of it is in the oil form. The minute you put even one drop, like Dr. Esselstyn says, in the oil form, you are totally changing the dynamic of what you're eating and how your body's going to react to that. It doesn't take much. And, I'm telling you, I am 52, right? I'm less than 160 pounds. I'm almost 6'2". I'm right in the middle there of the BMI of the normal range. But I'm telling you, I eat all the time. I am constantly trying to eat more and more and more, and I can't gain any weight. I don't think I'll ever be above 160 pounds ever again in my life, unless I, fall off the wagon or whatever and start eating animal products or oil or something like that, like on a regular basis. I'll have a cheat meal, and I did a chapter just before this one about cheat meals, not cheat days or weeks or whatever, just some meal, okay? But as long as you're willing to do this, search out the high quality organic or chemical free grown plants. The oil's in there. You don't have to worry about getting fat with your food. You're going to get it, okay? If you want muscle, you've got to go to the gym. That's how you get this stuff. Not just the gym, just have some weights, have some, I have some curl weights that I use, all right? I could probably use some more of them, do some more, but that's how you build muscle. You're gonna get bulk if you eat a lot of fat and oil. It's not muscle. You're just gonna carry that around, and what's gonna end up happening is, all your joints are gonna fail. You're gonna need knee replacements, hip replacements. You're gonna have problems with your feet, etc., because of all the weight. Your body is not designed to do that. Okay, I mean, it's a hell of a lot of work to carry all that weight around. I know if I go to the grocery store, I'll walk and I'll carry bags of groceries, maybe 10, 15 pounds on a shoulder, and that's a lot of weight. And I'm still under 200 pounds. I'm over 6'2", and I work out. I walk. I do strength exercises. Okay, I'm in shape. I can only imagine if you weren't in shape, that kind of taxing on the heart and stuff. And again, oil is a major contributor. I'm mentioning these things along with oil because oil is like, this is one of the most important chapters of the book. I know I keep saying this about all the different chapters, but this one, I mean, I might have to do multiple chapters on oil. There's so many bad things about oil. There is nothing redeeming about oil. If you think that there is, please comment below. I'll look into it. I have an open mind, but there's nothing redeeming about oil except it's cheap, it's calorically dense, and it makes you feel full. I can see why restaurants and food producers use it, but that has nothing to do with any benefits for you. It's all bad. So thank you for listening to my speech here about oil. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. And as we learn things more, I maybe will update on oil, because like I said, oil and salt is it's just oil and salt, oil and everything. And the next chapter is actually going to be on salt and sodium. So if you want to learn about that and why it's so bad and all the detail, just hang on. Thanks so much for watching. Give us a like. Be sure to subscribe too, so you find out about future videos. And I hope that you have a long and prosperous life. And please pass on the good news to everyone else. Thanks a lot. See you in the next one. Bye.